Welcome to Let's Talk, where we share stories that inspire, transform, and touch hearts. I'm your host Vaishali Patil, and today we are prescribing a powerful dose of hope and resilience. We are joined by Sunitha, whose journey from India to Dallas is more than just an immigration story. It's a testament of unwavering faith and determination. She started as a pharmacy technician and now she's a beacon of hope for many international pharmacy students. Sunita's story reminds us that our challenges can become our greatest purpose. Today, she's just not helping others pass their pharmacy exams, but also she's pursuing a master's in clinical and mental health counseling, proving that it's never too late to expand your impact. Her practice of talking to God during her toughest moments and her commitment to giving back to her community in India shows us how faith and service can guide us through life's biggest transitions. Get ready for a conversation that will move you, inspire you, and maybe even challenge you to think differently about your own journey. This is Let's Talk, and today we are prescribing hope. Hello, welcome Sunita. It's been nice to knowing you and your journey. Could you walk us through, how your journey has been since you moved to Dallas and how was it and what were your dreams and aspirations?
So when I moved in 2005 to Dallas, my dream was to get a PhD degree in Dallas because I had a master's in pharmacy from Banaras Indian University, Varanasi. So I want to do PhD in pharmaceutical sciences. That was my aspiration in when I come to Dallas, Texas.
How did you find your way? Did you manage to, practice as a pharmacist or there were other routes that you had to take, to what you want to do?
Yeah, I couldn't get the opportunity to start my PhD in Dallas because I didn't have any colleges which are offering the PhD program. So I changed. Then I thought, like, let me focus on career to get a pharmacist license in this country. Then I started working on the steps to get the pharmacist license.
How was that journey? What are the ways, to achieve that certification or, get the pharmacist recognition to work as a pharmacist?
It was not easy. It was tough because I didn't have any education in this country. So in USA, they expect some education and experience. Either you should be educated or you should have some experience working here. So both of them, I did not have that. So I started as the first step is the getting the pharmacy technician license. It's a certification program. So I did that one. But even I got that one, I didn't get the job because they asked me like, do you have any experience working as a technician, which I did not had. So I was contacting every pharmacy every day, calling them and asking them, did they have a, they say, yeah, we have opportunities for a technician because in USA, pharmacy technician, anybody can work. It is not necessary they should have a pharmacy background. Any background they can work. They do have to do certification and do that. That's all. So they always had opportunities to start. They need pharmacy technician, but in my case, since I didn't have experience, they initially say just apply and see. Then I applied. Then I was expecting that they will be calling me, but they won't call me. When I asked them, the first question they asked me is, "Do you have any experience?" Even I attended a lot of interviews. The first thing it came is, "Do you have any experience?" Then you don't have any experience, then they are not willing to hire me.
Just because you are not a resident, that's why the rules are different.
Because I had the work eligibility visa to start my career, I can work. But since I don't have any working experience in USA, they don't want to hire without any experience. Although they give training for 15 days, but that training won't be sufficient for people like me because they want some kind of at least a year or two experience in working in some pharmacy, which I did not have.
the moment, how are you managing or going ahead with your pharmacy license? And what have you been doing since? And what are the steps that you're taking to achieve and become a pharmacist?
Once I got the pharmacy technician certification, I was trying job, and then I uh, one pharmacist gave me a volunteer opportunity to just volunteer for a few days a week in the pharmacy. Then I did that one, and then the next step you have to do the foreign graduate equivalency examination. That is mandatory for every foreign pharmacy graduate who has been graduated from countries other than USA. So I passed that exam, and there's a TOEFL is a prerequisite for that exam, that English test, like how you are communicating with the patients. So that is mandatory. And then only you go into the NAPLEX, that is the North American Pharmacist Licensing Exam. So the NAPLEX is mandatory for all the people, even who has graduated from USA, they have to do the NAPLEX. Since I'm foreign pharmacy graduate, I had to do couple of exams before NAPLEX. So I did the FPGE, then I did the TOEFL, then I passed the NAPLEX, that is a pharmacist licensing exam, and we have to do 1500 hours of internship, that is mandatory. So that's all the requirements for getting the pharmacist license. So which all I did one by one, like step by step.
So, how did you manage to get that 1500 of internship? What was the process, and how did you manage to get through that?
So the internship for the graduates who has been graduated from this USA, the school itself arranges the internship hours for them to so you can go and get. They say like every 250 hours in a particular pharmacy. So they give like multiple pharmacy setups. They can go and do the internship. But for me, it's like since I'm a foreign pharmacy graduate, nobody wants to give me the opportunity. The first thing they ask is, "Are you a PharmD?" No, I don't. I'm not a PharmD, right? So it took almost 6 months to get a place to start my internship. So I called all the pharmacies because I was studying when I was studying preparing for these exams. My son was almost 2.5, 3 year old when I was calling for internship. So they were asking like for the past 3 years, what did you do? I said I was sitting at home taking care of my son, and they were like, long break you took after your technician journey career. So they were like, they don't want to give me any opportunities. And the internship is totally different from technician. Technician is like a assistant to pharmacist, but internship is like a real what you are going to do as a pharmacist, what you're going to do. That is the internship. So I want to learn from a preceptor. They say preceptor or a guide who can guide me in how to work as a pharmacist in this country. So it took a lot of time, but my goal was to find an internship in hospital pharmacy, because I know hospital pharmacies, they do a lot. They work really good and they help people. So I want to work in hospital. I want to know what is going on in hospital pharmacy, because I had experience in community pharmacy. So I want to know what is going on in hospital pharmacy. So I tried, and it took almost 6 months. And one receptor told me I can give you hours in hospital. So in 300-bedded hospital in Dallas. So that's how I started my internship hours. I want to do all the 1500 hours in hospital pharmacy only. That is my goal. But she advised me, although you do hospital pharmacy hours, you won't get a job, because they want for hospital they have a requirement like they have to be Form D and resident. There are some multiple things there. So she told like, I don't think they will hire you even if you do 1500 hours. So just learn from other pharmacies too. So I went to again I went to a community pharmacy, and then Texas Oncology and home health. So the 4 different setups I learned and completed my 1500 hours of internship.
Yeah, so how was it for you to, step down and work? And during that process, what were you going through? Because you were qualified in India and this was a complete new route. For me, it's the same. I moved to UK as a dentist, but I gave up for the same reasons. Requalifying is a big thing, and you need to have a lot of strength and that liking to go through all the exams. And I know here even you have to step down and work if you want to pursue what you want to. So, how was that challenge, and how did you keep your strength going and pursuing what you wanted? What did that teach you?
So I always have great faith in God. I believe in God. So I don't know. Yeah, even when I started this, I was failing in the exam. I was making attempts because I was studying with my son, a newborn. So I didn't have proper sleep. So I was not able to focus. There was no babysitter or a daycare or nothing. So I was there with my son. So, I couldn't pass even in the first attempt the exam. So it was quite challenging for me. So I was thinking like to quit and go to some other IT or something else instead of pursuing pharmacy. I don't think I'm going to make it. But I don't know. But God gave me the inner strength to pursue it, I think. So I did it. I passed all the exam one by one. And then internship was quite challenging after that because nobody was willing to give me hours. Then it took almost 6 months to get my internship hours. So 6 months I was just calling every pharmacy, and in the meantime, I had a family emergency in India. I want to go and take care of those things and come back. So many days I was crying before God only. Like, I don't know, like, even I was not able to tell to my family members because they don't understand what I am going through. Because if I cry, also, they will tell, like, okay, just do your best. Otherwise, if you don't want, you find another thing, right? It is not because they were all thinking like I want to take care of my son. That is their priority. Like, I want to be the family. So okay, that's fine. You are not getting the things. That's fine. You can take your own time. But I didn't stop. That's what I'm thinking. Like, I didn't quit or I didn't stop. I was just doing and doing and doing. Although I failed, I was just studying, preparing for the exam again and again. I was just calling every pharmacy every day to get my internship hours. When my son is sleeping, that is my job. I have a notebook and write down like which pharmacy I called, I left a message, or I emailed, I faxed. It was like a homework I was doing. Uh, I don't know how many pharmacies I did that. Like, and finally, I started a fasting for the God who I believe. The first day of fasting, it is my duty to call the pharmacy for internship. So I called the hospital, and they were like, usually the director does not pick up the phone, but she picked up the phone that day, and she is the preceptor, and she knows how tough is the journey for the foreign pharmacy graduate. So she knows everything, like how many exams we give, and she asked me the phone itself. Did you pass all the exams? I was like, yes. Now I'm here for it. Then she was like, that's really great because I heard it's very tough to pass all the tests and uh, okay, why can't you come and meet me? Then that's how it started. And she was the one who motivated me to get the internship hours in multiple pharmacies set up because that will help me in the future. And I didn't start my career as a pharmacist in a pharmacy because I know that it was not easy. When I did the internship itself, I saw it is very hard. Like, you have to stand and you have to come and take care of the family. I don't think I can manage my family and work, but I want to. I learned, I have gained a lot of knowledge during this journey, so I want to share the knowledge with others. That's why I choose a different pathway of coaching or teaching the pharmacy graduates.
Do you think because you went through all this, you wanted to help other people? What made you, to take up this path of coaching the pharmacy students?
Yeah, I worked as a lecturer in the pharmacy college in India for 4 years. I got lot of positive inputs about my teaching. So I also have a passion in teaching. But when I come here and started on, I saw the internship things, and I think I personally felt I don't think I can do this. So what I have to do next, what I should do, because I gained lot of knowledge by after a lot of facing lot of struggles and challenges, right? But I don't want to waste the knowledge, and I have to take care of my family because my son needs my attention at that time. So I want to be at home. So what I can do with both these things, because when you have faith in God, in one particular God or something, the God will give you some message through somebody, or some instinct will come, right? Like some inner voice will tell you what you should do. So I got a message that I should teach. Okay, so that's how I started. Then I just posted in a forum, in a because I was already in the study group where I was preparing for these exams. So I was answering all the questions, like somebody's asking some questions, I am just answering all the questions. So people were asking me personally, can you help in my exam, because you are answering all the questions. I hope you can help me because this is my second attempt or third attempt. We are very frustrated, and they spend a lot of money on it. So they were asking me. Then I said I can try, because I don't know whether I can help, but I can try. So initially I tried like uh, for free. I didn't get any money. I just took it like, okay, let me see whether I can help. And I helped a couple of students, and those students went and told to some people that she is good, she can help, be helpful. So that's how it spread by word of mouth. And today I have coached almost 70 students, and they are all pharmacists. I am very happy. So I was focusing more on the NAPLEX, that is North American Pharmacist Licensing Exam, because that is mandatory for everyone. So I have coached not only from students like me, foreign pharmacy graduates, but also graduates from USA.
I think that's a great approach, utilizing all your experience to help other people who are trying to find a way to reach their goal. So that's a brilliant way of keeping even your sanity and achieving and doing what you like. So when you were teaching the pharmacy graduates or when you were coaching them, did you find any gaps that they were struggling with mental issues or something while going through the exam or the stress? What made you turn to mental health coaching?
I did a graduate in mental health. I graduated in December 2024. First goal was to do PhD here, but I didn't get any PhD opportunity. So I lost that. The thought was going on in my mind, but I changed my career to get the pharmacist license and everything. Since I'm teaching and coaching, I had some time to do some education. Maybe if I started as a pharmacist, I may not have be having time. But since I'm teaching on my own pace, my own time, right? I'm scheduling my own classes at my convenience time. So during the pandemic time, they told like there are a lot of educational opportunities came up with no exams, with for the, because I'm a US resident like now. So the fees is also a little bit less compared to previously. So I was just googling to see what I can study. I want to study. So I told you I earlier, right? The God was giving me some inner voice to guiding me. So I learned meditation. So when I was meditating in silence, I had that is coming again and to me like, "Oh, you want to study, right? You want to study, right?" That is after I came in 2005, and this happened in me in 2020 or 21 during the pandemic time. So when I was closing my eyes and sitting, I had a thought like, you have to study, right? You want to study, right? You want to study. Then I was like, yeah, I want to study, but what I want to study now, I don't know what I want to study. Previously, I had a thought like I want to do PhD in pharmacy thing, but now I don't know whether doing PhD is going to help me. I don't know because I got the pharmacist license and everything. So I'm not sure whether doing Pharm D or PhD is worth it, or what I should do. I don't know what I should do. Again, I was doing everyday meditation, and it was I was just googling Google, and my one that's how it happened. Like one of my friend called me, and randomly she was talking about, she won't talk about education, but she talked about like, hey, my husband is telling like there are a lot of courses available during the pandemic online. So can we study? She just talked like that, right? Okay, can we study? Then I said, yeah, I don't know why I'm also getting the thought to study, and you are also telling me I don't know what is going on. But she wanted to do is some courses in community college, not like a graduate degree. So husband was telling to educate and then go for a job, like learn something and try for a job. You're sitting at home, the kids are becoming bigger. Now you have to try the job. So she was trying for some certification courses or something online, because now everything is online. So she was thinking that. So when she told community college, then I went into the community college and see like what courses I can do for my expertise, because she is from IT background. I am from pharmacy background, so I want to check what it is. Then I saw this masters in clinical and mental health counseling. Okay, so that I went and searched what is this course about. Oh, it's in community college. It is very closer to my home. Then I can study. Then I called them and they said like, no, no, you have to do only 6 months class here, and then you have to go to the college after that. For the main building, it is little bit far. So that course catched me. I Counseling is the word it catched me, because I thought like I can implement my pharmacy knowledge also here. I can talk about because I when I if I want to become a pharmacist, I was telling to my preceptor actually told me earlier, when I completed all my intern hours, the hospital who is guiding me, she told me, I think you cannot work as a pharmacist. I don't think you will work as a pharmacist, because you are more into family. You are like always like, oh, what is my son doing? What is my I have to cook and I have to. You're always talking about family, family. I don't think a pharmacist job is going to work for you. You have to sit and talk to people. You have to talk. You have to do counseling. That's what she told me. Where she observed my thing and she told me, you have a knowledge to talk to people and explain them really good, so you have to do the medication therapy management, that is called counseling for the pharmacy people. So she told you have to try that, but that is not easy. Again, they will tell you that you didn't have the pharmacy degree. That will come again. So I'm just giving you a thought, but you try that. If you have, if it is any certification is there, you can do, but don't jump into anything now. Just find a pharmacy first that you can do, and then do whatever you want to do. That's what she advised me. So that thought was there in my mind. So when I saw clinical mental health counseling, then I called them and called the college and everything, and they said like, "Yeah, starting now. If you want, you can apply. We have time." And then I did, and I got it. And it's a hybrid program. On Saturdays only, I had the class, remaining online, so it was helping me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So, after doing this counseling certification or course that you uh, did it help you when you were coaching your pharmacy students? Do you think there is a correlation between tutoring people when they're doing such difficult exams and using your mental counseling? Do you think that complements each other?
Yeah, because the students who come to me is they tried all the resources available in the market for Taplex and they could not pass. So they have invested a lot of money and they have the second attempt or third attempt. This exam is maximum 5 attempts only we can do. So they have to finish in the fifth attempt. So they were like emotional, crying. They have educational loans they have to pay back. So they are very emotional. So initially, I would just empathetically listen to what they are saying. That is my first session. I will just talk, let them talk first. So let them cry, let them vent out whatever they have. Sometimes some students, the parents also will come and talk. Okay, because they cannot face their child going through all those things, right? So they will come and talk and they say like, we are trusting you. We don't have anybody else. We are the last source. We have come to you, so please help us. So whatever the fees we want, we can give, but just help her. That's the way they say. So I when I started, I charged very less fees. So some people don't trust me because I am charging less fees. So whether she will help us or not, that kind of doubt was there. But later on, they believed in me. They trusted me. So it happened. So initially, I just listened to them, and then I will ask them like, where do you think you need more help on the exam? So it is customized one-on-one classes only. It is not group classes. So I spend my valuable time with them for 1 or 2 hours every day, and then I sit with them until I will be with them until they pass the test. So once they pass the test, so many thanked me, so many parents thanked me, and they said you are like an angel who helped us. So there is a lot of blessings I got.
Do you think the spiritual side of you doing the meditation part, do you think that helps you to, keep strong and, navigate and help people, helps you in decision making? Do you think?
The meditation I learned in 2021 only. So after that, I'm doing everyday meditation in the morning. So the morning meditation makes me to work efficiently without any stress. Even I have a lot of loans with me now. Education loans is there. I have to pay back. I have a lot of things going on, but still, I'm confident that everything will be done, sorted out soon. So I am working. It helps me to work mindfully in whatever I'm doing, and it makes me to live at the present moment. I'm not worried about what is going to happen tomorrow. Right, whatever I can do today, I'm doing my best.
I remember you talking about having a dream to establish a counseling center in India. So, can you walk us through that?
Yeah. So what now I am working on my license for the counselor license, therapist license. So once I get the license, I'm checking with couple of hospitals in India and some foundations, a counselor foundation in India to see what I can do from here first to to build a network to establish some relationship, positive relationship with them. Like virtually, I can do counseling or what kind of certification or any other training is needed in India to practice as a therapist. I'm not sure, so I'm checking with them because I have seen in my own family there are people with anxiety, depression, with Parkinsonism, Alzheimer's. There are different kind of people are there, but they are not willing to talk to anyone, and they are not willing to share with anyone. So I'm also seeing in this news there are a lot of suicide and things are going on in India. So I want to build a counseling center to create more awareness about ourselves, and that is my goal. But the first step is I want to find a already established people so that I can work with them, and then eventually I can do something.
Can you walk us through that journey of yours when your child was small? How you were part of a community and you were a principal. Could you tell us more about that part of your life?
Yeah, when I came to this country initially, the we had the visa issues. I cannot work. I want to be at home. And then once I get the pharmacy technician certification and everything, these exams were going on. And it was stressing me a lot, like sitting at home all the time studying. So there was a native language learning school. They're teaching Tamil. So I want to put my son in that school. So I went and approached them, and they said that they always look for volunteers to help also. So I dropped my son there for a class, and then I also started volunteering as a teacher there. And then the school moved to closer to my. There was another branch they opened near my home. So since I had already 1 year teacher experience in that school, so they asked me to take the role as a vice principal. And then after 3 years, I was like a principal, and then I am serving as a secretary. I served as a principal for 10 years in the same school. So everybody told me that I have a leadership quality, which I don't know because I was learning. I don't know I had a leadership skill or anything because there was no opportunity to show that. So, but when I was learning and everybody was telling like you have a lot of leadership skills to manage the school, and we started the school with 25 kids, and now there are 76 kids there studying their language, and it is like a regular school from evening 4 to 6 on Sundays. We rent out a Montessori school or a church, and then we run the school, and we give books and we conduct tests, we have projects, we give graduation certificate and trophy. And so totally there are 9 branches in Dallas and total of 1,500 students now currently in the school. So it taught me so many things like coordinating events, competitions. We did a 10th year event that was a milestone. It was really good. I learned a lot coordinating that. So, and I've also, it is also like my stress buster, I think. Like, I can go and see the kids there. I will be there with the kids. I talk to the parents. So it was a nice journey to be there. And still, I am serving as in the board member, but not as a principal anymore.
Yeah, and I think that also keeps you connected to the community and to your roots, I guess, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
because they always ask me like, when are you going to start counseling? Because they always ask me like, when are you going to start counseling? Because we need help from you. We need counseling from you. I said, once I get the license, I will let you know. Yeah.
Definitely. So, what would you tell the women who are looking to start their own educational business? Do you have anything to say or advise them?
I started without investing any money, right? Just started. uh, I just started one-on-one tutoring with the study group or the forum. I just posted, and then I got only one student at a time. So I just started because I want to know whether I can help or not. So then it moved on, and after that I didn't post any advertisement or something. So when I started, I don't have any idea how to build a website, how to do this. So I did everything by watching the YouTube tutorial or something. I built at my own website, and it was not great, but I did something. And then I started my own tutoring in the small room with the whiteboard. Like India, I write in a marker in the whiteboard. That kind of teaching will be there, and uh, I didn't do like a LLC. It is like a sole proprietorship that you don't want to pay any, you don't want to invest any money. If I want to be LLC, I think I need to say pay some money. But I have not registered as LLC. But I did like a sole proprietorship. Just the home is the one room in the home is the business. That's what I'm doing the business. That's all. Mm.
Mm.
So because they said like initially I don't know whether I need to do that, but somebody guided me like instead of getting cash, if you want to get like a Zelle or like check or whatever they are paying, it is better to register like a company. So that's how I did that. Yeah.
That's great. What message would you share with others who are at the beginning of their journey when they immigrated to a new country? What would you advise them on their professional journeys?
See, it is not easy journey. Okay, so when as a pharmacy, I'm telling like when they come as a pharmacy, they want to pursue as a pharmacist because I can see every day I'm getting like 3 or 5 messages from LinkedIn to they want to pursue as a pharmacist. What are the exams they have to give? Because they are not aware of this exams first thing, and they are thinking that exams can be done in India itself, but that is also not true. They have to come here and do it. It's a long journey, so they have to be mentally prepared for that first thing, because they come just like that and they think like within 2 3 years they can get the license. I don't think it is that much easy. It takes time, and a lot of perseverance is needed. Because there is when I came here, there was no guidance. Although I had my friends or my classmates here was a pharmacist, but they were not able to guide me because they are busy in their own world and they have their own family. So I wanted to search by myself, like what is that I think that all was helping me in guiding the students, right? Because I did everything by myself from day one. I came here, right? Like what are the books? I made my own notes for preparing, so that's what is helping me. If I might have got from other person help, I don't think I can help the students like what I'm doing now. So I would advise them to understand the process, how long it will take. So be prepared for that. Don't be in a hurry to just go for the exam and do it and then failing and then getting demotivated and finally changing the career, quitting this and go. I have seen so many people, they stop, they quit, and then they choose another career. And finally they realize, right, that is also not, because their passion is not that one, their passion is here, right? So they are not doing, they are earning money, but they are not passionate. Then they call, sometimes they call me and tell me, like, it's almost 10 years I'm working in IT, so can I come back and do the pharmacy? I said, you always can do, but I don't know, like, whether you remember the pharmacy things, because you are telling that you're working in IT for 10 years, because your mind is always here to become a pharmacist. See, it is not necessary you have to, it's mandatory you have to become a pharmacist. You can be like me, teaching somebody else, right? Once you pass the test, you can be like me. And there are a lot of online jobs now with drug safety, pharmacovigilance, or research. There are, Amazon is hiring for online pharmacists, work from home. So there are a lot of work from home opportunities are now available. So they can choose whatever they want. So so many people, they don't, the first thing is passing the exam is hard. The second thing is working as a pharmacist is super hard. That is also hard. So they will think like, okay, after doing all these exams, when you step into pharmacist, I don't think I can work this much hard. Like I have to stand for the whole day, and they quit. So I'm just telling that it is not necessary you have to become a pharmacist only. There are a lot of opportunities available. If you have passion to do it, you can do it. Nowadays there are like telehealth business are there. Like you can set up your own business from home. There are so many opportunities are there. So they can do it. If I can do it, they can do it.
The brilliant insight, and all your stories are so inspiring, especially talking to God. And I think because it was your own journey, it was your lived experience that's made you stronger. Because with lived experiences, it's always different, isn't it? It's your own journey. So through those experiences, teaching someone is always going to be better than anything.
Mm.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sunita. It was lovely to have you, and wish you all the best.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Sunita's story reminds us that our struggles often prepare us for purpose. From those difficult early days in Dallas to now helping others achieve their dreams, her journey shows us the power of persistence, faith, and the courage to reinvent ourselves. To our listeners who are facing their own challenges right now, whether you're starting over in a new country, juggling family and career, or dreaming of making a bigger impact, remember that your journey today might become someone else's guide tomorrow. Thank you, Sunita, for sharing your heart with us today. And thank you to our listeners for being a part of this conversation. If this episode touched you, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe and join our community on social media. Until next time, keep believing, keep growing, and keep lifting others as you climb. This is Let's Talk, where every story matters and every voice matters.